It's the Morning Sports Report on TribLIVE Radio, TribLIVE.com. Ken Laird, Guy Junker. West Coast trip has suddenly turned fruitful, Guy, and Andrew McCutchen, since May the 5th, hitting .371. What a night for Kutch. This team, a couple weeks ago, we were wondering if they had the it factor, where the magic was, and a couple of weeks later, they look like a World Series
It sort of came back the day we discussed that they didn't have it anymore, you know?
Yeah.
I think the amazing thing to me about Andrew McCutchen is he had that meeting with us, with reporters that day, and the sort of, I'm not earning my money, I'm sick of going 0 for 4. And, you know, to break down, and McCutchen always talks to you, but he doesn't really say a whole lot. To really break down and say all that stuff, and then immediately to start hit. I don't think it was that night. I think it was the next night. But he's raised his batting average over 100 points since. It's almost freaky that he can will himself. You know, we're all thinking he has a bad knee. He's never going to break out of this. This is going to be a bad year. He should go on a disabled list to get healthy. And he's been the Kutch of old. He's had as good a month as he's ever had.
Yeah, he had some pretty fun, entertaining interviews if he stayed up late enough after the win. His 4-hit performance, bringing his bat in the post-game interview with Root Sports, and he mentioned, since I've talked to this guy or to my bat, you know, things have turned around. We had a long chat. So he's been playful and fun about it, but you just wonder, and he made a statement that, I'm ready and I'm not quitting. Can he stay hot enough for June, July to make another MVP run and carry this team on his back, or does it depend on the pitching, which has been so good for much of this winning streak that they're on?
Well, I think most of their fortunes lie in their pitching. But last night's a perfect example of A.J. Burnett deserved a couple of more wins in April. He pitched great, and they didn't hit for him. Last night he didn't pitch great, but they did hit for him. So things, you start to panic. They had a terrible month of April, and he himself is the perfect example of the long baseball season, how things always end up balancing out. Actually, he maybe deserved a better fate last night. If he gets that double play ball in the first inning, it could have been a whole different game for A.J. Burnett. So I think starting pitching is the number one thing that will carry them. And I think with McCutchen, he's not going to hit the way he did the last month. He'll end up with a .400 batting average. He's not going to hit the way he did the first month either. He's going to be somewhere in the middle. That's what you want. I'd rather see him consistent. I don't want to see a month like April. This last month's been great. If you're going to hit 320, try to hit between 280 and 330 for the whole year.
Well, he has been a hot, traditionally, hitter in June and July.
Yeah.
The team, though, 28-24.
High water mark of the year. First time they're 4 games over 500.
There you go. Still a long road trip. You were saying before the 10-game swing started, 5-5, totally acceptable, right? And actually you would have taken that. Here now they've split in San Diego, and they've taken these 2. So 4-2, looking for the sweep today, and it lined up with Cole, Burnett, and Liriano now for the day game. The same way they started the Mets series when they swept New York and got this whole thing rolling. So back to pitching again. And the way it's lined up for them.
And lined up nice. They don't have to face Bumgarner. And it also lined up nice. The Giants had won 13 out of 15 games up until last up. They started to lose right before the Pirates came to town. And I said this a million times, that over the course of the year, sometimes you'll look at the results and you'll be like, how could they be 3-6 against Atlanta? They're in last place, or something like that. Well, when they played them, they were on a hot streak. I would not have wanted to play the Giants 2 weeks ago.
They'd swept the Dodgers, the Angels. They were hot.
13 out of 15. That's a heck of a roll. That's almost a 3-week roll. Well, they were bound to cool off, and the Pirates hit them at the perfect time. The pitching matched up. The Giants were ready to cool off. And at some point, the Padres are a perfect example. How many times in Epic Collapse, I think it was Epic Collapse 1 and 2, the Padres were the team that killed them, and they stunk, and you just wanted to throw up your hands.
In Pittsburgh,
too.
Good point.
So, I think some of the cyclical nature of the game is coming out, and they're the beneficiary of it. They're right there in the wild card race now. The Cardinals are in sight, but the Cardinals still have the best record in baseball. And I think the thing you got to worry about playing better yourself, get yourself in position for the wild card, pass up the Cubs, and they've sort of done all that. At least got equal with the Cubs, and now you look ahead at the Cardinals later.
Join us again in 2 weeks when the Pirates are missing the it factor again. Ken and Guy, we'll be here. TribLive.com.